Secrets of a Low-Carb Diet: How to Lose Weight and Maintain Your Fitness Using Low-Carb Principles and Tactics. Introduction. Congratulations! If you are reading this book, you are taking your first step toward healthier living. There are many ways you can improve your health and fitness. You can exercise, you can meditate, you can diet, or you can combine all three and then some. While there are many different approaches to health and wellness, this book focuses on those interested in low-carbohydrate diets and lifestyles. While a low-carbohydrate lifestyle is not for everyone, it may benefit many and may help you achieve your weight loss and fitness goals. How do you go about starting a low-carbohydrate diet? We'll take you step by step through the process. Your job? Sit back, relax, and enjoy your stay. Personal welcome to the low-carbohydrate lifestyle. Welcome to your journey to a happy, safe, and healthy low-carbohydrate diet, low-carb diet. There are many different diets on the market today. There are low-carb diets, low-fat diets, grapefruit diets, whole foods diets, vegetarian diets, and vegan diets. The list goes on and on. How do you decide which diet is right for you? For most consumers, finding the right diet plan is confusing at best, frustrating at the very least. Depending on your health and fitness goals, your healthcare provider may recommend a low-carb diet. A low-carbohydrate diet can be helpful for someone who wants to lose weight, lower their cholesterol, and improve their overall health and fitness levels. How do you know if a low-carbohydrate diet is right for you? The first step is learning everything you can about low-carb diets. In this guide, we'll let you in on the insider secrets to successful low-carb dieting. If you decide this diet is the right one for you, you'll find everything you need in this handy book to guide you through your low-carb journey. Before we begin our journey, it is important you understand what a low-carbohydrate diet really is, what it involves, and how it can benefit you. For most people, deciding to go low-carb is a lifelong journey. Before you decide to start this journey, let's learn a little bit more about low-carbohydrate diet's foundation and philosophy. We'll begin with a comprehensive review of what low-carb dieting is all about and how the idea of low-carbohydrate dieting originated. History of low-carb dieting. In prehistoric times, there was no such thing as a high-carbohydrate diet. Today, however, carbohydrates bombard and dominate most people's diets. Once humankind figured out how to process foods, carbohydrate consumption became the norm rather than the exception to the rule. Early man, however, rarely relied on carbohydrates as the staple of their diet. In fact, the earliest diet for human beings consisted of lean proteins, vegetables, fruits, seeds, and nuts. Carbohydrate consumption, especially refined carbohydrate consumption, is a relatively modern phenomenon, one that slowly evolved as human beings discovered new ways to process foods. Interestingly, there is little evidence suggesting obesity and other weight issues were a problem centuries ago. Yet today, there are literally thousands of people that struggle with weight-related issues, including obesity and overweight. Some blame this change on our increased consumption of processed carbohydrates. Many hypothesize our bodies are genetically designed to adopt a low-carbohydrate diet because early humans had to eat what nature provided. Some complex carbohydrates, including cruciferous vegetables, contain plenty of fiber and cellulose, both helpful for preserving proper body functions. These types of carbohydrates also contain some essential vitamins and nutrients in their raw states. Our bodies are not genetically designed to excel when provided with high volumes of simple or refined carbohydrates. One reason for this is these products do not contain enough fiber and convert too quickly into simple sugars in the body. Eating too many simple or refined carbohydrates interferes with our body's natural carbohydrate metabolism, leading to an increase in insulin output, a condition called hyperinsulinism and insulin resistance. Many health issues, including heart disease, may result. We'll talk a little bit more later about how our bodies process carbohydrates. Meanwhile, let's learn more about what low carbohydrates are and how you may benefit from them. Low carbohydrate diets defined. A low carbohydrate diet typically is a diet high in lean proteins, vegetables, certain fruits, nuts, and seeds. Keep in mind that a low carbohydrate is not the same as a no carbohydrate. A diet where people avoid carbohydrates almost entirely is more akin to a ketogenic diet than a low-carbohydrate diet. For purposes of this book, we will focus on a low-carbohydrate diet as one that highlights a decreased intake of certain types of carbohydrates, though we will mention ketogenic diets briefly in this book for your benefit. Most low-carbohydrate diets adopt common principles. They are, for the most part, simple to follow. That is one reason most people prefer low-carbing. What are some of the key features and common principles low-carbohydrate diets share? These may include engaging in an introductory phase where you severely restrict your carbohydrate intake, followed by an ongoing or maintenance phase where you lose weight and then uphold your weight. The key to a successful low-carb diet is limitation of one's intake of simple and refined carbohydrates. To understand what this means, you must first understand what the different types of carbohydrates are. Simple carbohydrates. Simple carbohydrates are those with 1 to 3 units of sugar linked with other molecules. Most simple carbohydrates are sweet foods the body easily converts to sugar after consumption. This can lead to an immediate surge in energy followed by a crash or sense of drowsiness. Examples include sweet fruits. Refined carbohydrates. Refined carbohydrates include any processed or manufactured carbohydrates. This means before you eat a product, a company messes with it, which typically involves adding chemicals, preservatives, or the breaking down of a carbohydrate into a simpler sugar. Examples of refined carbohydrates include, but are not limited to, sugar, white flour products like white bread, crackers, white rice, noodles, and cereal. Many use the term refined to describe these carbohydrates because their molecular makeup is very close to pure sugar. Most refined carbohydrates have the same effect on the body that sugar might. It causes health problems. Overconsumption of sugary foods can lead to multiple health problems, including diabetes. Whereas in times of old, people consumed less than 4 total pounds of sugar or refined carbohydrates a year, that number has risen dramatically. In fact, most people will consume 3 to 4 pounds of sugar in a week to 1 month in modern society. Complex carbohydrates. Complex carbohydrates are the least sinister of all carbohydrates and worthwhile to the body in certain quantities. These carbohydrates contain fiber and cellulose, which help our bodies work properly. This category of carbohydrates includes vegetables like lettuce, kale, and broccoli. These foods are high in fiber. High-fiber diets provide positive health benefits, including a decreased risk for cancer, arthritis, and diabetes. Complex carbohydrates may also contain lower fiber foods like whole grain rice, squash, and tomatoes. Effects of eating too many simple and refined carbohydrates. Eating too much sugar and other refined carbohydrates has many effects on the body. High blood sugar levels can cause anxiety, increased energy followed by an energy crash, and cravings for more sugar, mood swings, lethargy, and other undesirable symptoms. Some research suggests that overconsumption of processed foods may contribute to children's diseases, including ADHD. A study published in the Southern Medical Journal in 1982 suggests that sugar consumption results in hyperactivity and other destructive behaviors in children. The cause may include consumption of refined carbohydrates, leading to a condition called hypoglycemia and hyperkinesis. Anatomy of a low-carbohydrate diet. Most low-carbohydrate diets share common principles and phases. These principles and phases include 1. An introductory period or phase where the participant must work to severely minimize carbohydrate intake. Typically, this involves consuming less than 20 grams of carbohydrates each day. 2. An ongoing or weight loss period where the participant continues to limit overall carbohydrate intake to allow a weight loss of 1 to 2 pounds every week. 3. A maintenance phase where the participant may increase carbohydrate consumption to a point where they are no longer losing weight but not gaining weight either. At any point, a person may re-enter the introductory phase and restart the diet if they find they are gaining weight. For many people, it takes some time to determine the exact level of carbohydrates they need to eat to maximize weight loss while preserving their energy levels. The biology of carbohydrate breakdown. Let's talk a bit more about how our bodies break down carbohydrates so you understand better the relationship between simple, refined, and complex carbohydrates. This will help you make a more educated decision when selecting the diet plan best for you. The food you eat raises your blood sugar at varying levels over a 2 or 3 hour time frame. Many people use the glycemic index to find out how fast our body breaks down carbohydrates and raises blood sugar. Glycemic index defined. The glycemic index refers to a ranking system individuals and researchers use to rank or identify carbohydrates by the effects they have on the body's blood glucose levels. This ranking system compares the number of carbohydrates a food has and ranks the number of carbs with the speed with which those carbs influence blood glucose levels. For low-carb dieters, generally foods lower on the glycemic index are better because they provide more lasting energy and are less likely to result in blood sugar highs and lows. Any food that breaks down quickly during the digestion phase ranks higher on the glycemic index. Your body also uses less energy to convert these foods into sugar, which means your metabolism doesn't have to work as hard, so you are not as likely to lose weight when you eat them. The glycemic index lists foods that are low, meaning carbohydrates in the low category have an index level of 55 or less. These include complex carbohydrates, which break down slower in the body. The slower carbohydrates break down, the longer you feel full and the greater your chances for weight loss. Generally, carbohydrates serve as an important energy source for the body. Even low-carbohydrate fans should know that carbohydrates are important for the body's general functioning and processes. While you do not need to eat a diet that consists mostly of carbohydrates, most diets should include at least some complex carbohydrates to fuel the body and provide constant energy. To figure out what carbohydrates are best for you, it helps to know what carbohydrates are made of. Most carbohydrates include 3 key ingredients, including starch, cellulose, and sugars. Our bodies use each of these substances in different ways. Typically, our bodies use carbohydrates as a source of fuel or energy. The body breaks down carbohydrates by converting them into the simple sugar glucose. This stimulates the body to produce insulin, a hormone that transfers glucose to various parts of the body. If you eat too many refined foods or simple sugars, your body produces excess glucose and then stores it, meaning you store more fat. You also have less energy because the body processes these carbohydrates too quickly. Simple carbohydrates are easy to break down, so if you need a quick jump start, they serve as an excellent fuel source. However, they do not provide the body with long-lasting energy, which for many results in greater food consumption to provide lasting energy. Carbohydrates and weight gain. Do carbohydrates cause weight gain? When you eat too many refined and simple carbohydrates, you are much more likely to store fat. Why? Your body breaks down these carbohydrates easily and stores any excesses in fat cells. When your liver and muscles become overloaded with energy. Remember, however, that if you eat too much of anything, you are more likely to put on fat. You have to eat as much as your body needs to run efficiently. If you eat too much food, whether protein, fat, or carbohydrates, you are likely to gain weight. Most people, however, tend to overeat more when they incorporate more simple and refined carbohydrates into their diet. This is because these carbohydrates are burned up quickly and cause energy highs and lows. When your body hits an energy low, it immediately sends hunger signals to you, so you want to eat more food. This happens regardless of whether you need extra calories. When you eat too many refined and simple carbohydrates, your body craves more food so it has the energy it needs to work properly. This can result in overeating. People who eat too many simple carbohydrates are more at risk for type 2 diabetes because the body produces too much insulin in response to greater glucose production in the body. Many people's bodies are not capable of managing the constant demand and supply of insulin, resulting in an inability to regulate insulin production. This is in essence what type 2 diabetes is, an inability to regulate one's production of insulin. Good versus bad carbohydrates. Are some carbs really good or bad? In a word, yes. Good carbohydrates are complex carbs, those in unprocessed fruits, vegetables, and whole grain products. These carbs are good because the body breaks them down slowly, meaning they do not result in spikes in blood sugar and excessive storage of fat in the body. Bad carbohydrates include simple and refined carbohydrates, the kind you find in processed foods, soda, and other sugary sweets. While many people prefer not labeling foods as good or bad, in all reality, eating too many refined and simple carbohydrates can put your health at risk. People who eat too many of these types of carbohydrates tend to feel hungry soon after they eat and experience energy spikes and crashes resulting from poor eating habits. If you want to maintain your energy levels for prolonged periods and stop storing fat, the best way to do so is by eating only complex carbohydrates or by adopting a low-carbohydrate diet quickly. For many, starting a low-carbohydrate diet may seem extreme. Most of us are so used to eating carbohydrates daily, the thought of not eating them becomes overwhelming. Here are some tips that can help ease your transition from high carbohydrate eating to low carbohydrate eating with minimal side effects. 1. First, take some time to break into a low carbohydrate diet. Before you endure a 2-week induction period, start slowly reducing the amounts of starchy and refined foods you eat. This will help you ease into a low carbohydrate diet with minimal side effects. 2. Try eating salad with all of your meals. Eat your salad before your meal. This will help you feel full faster and help you avoid refined foods and simple sugars like bread. 3. Start adding more protein to all your meals. A low-carb diet typically focuses on eating more lean proteins. You should plan to incorporate protein in your diet at least twice, if not 3 times daily. If you are already eating enough protein, you'll find the early phase of a low-carbohydrate diet quite easy. 4. Focus on eating carbohydrates in their natural, unprocessed state. Most complex carbohydrates are complex carbohydrates, meaning they are full of fiber and help you lose, not gain weight. If you incorporate them into your diet slowly, when you remove most refined and simple sugars, you won't feel deprived. You will also learn new ways of eating that will last a lifetime. Chapter Overview. Humankind hasn't always relied on carbohydrates as a primary source of fuel and energy. In fact, only recently have people begun incorporating more carbohydrates into their diets. Some geneticists argue that eating simple and refined carbohydrates is not a natural process. This may be true. Most of the research that is available on carbohydrate consumption suggests that complex carbohydrates are the best carbohydrates to eat if one is looking for lasting energy and support. Most low-carbohydrate diets allow minimal consumption of complex carbohydrates to provide the body with the fuel and energy it needs to thrive. In the next chapter, we'll look at low carbohydrates in the news and learn more about the advantages of adopting a low-carbohydrate lifestyle. Chapter 2, News and Information. Low-carbohydrate diets have received much press in recent years, some good and some bad. As with any diet, it is your job to learn as much information as possible before embarking on a diet and exercise program. Remember, most people that start a low-carbohydrate diet commit to it for life. Once you start realizing the potential benefits this diet has to offer, you may not want to eat any other way. Among the benefits most commonly reported among low-carbohydrate fans include increased energy because of assumption of minimal complex carbohydrates, which provide more sustained energy throughout the day. Decreased fatigue, which is normally associated with consumption of too many simple or refined carbohydrates. Weight loss of up to 1 to 2 pounds a week. Weight maintenance after one determines how many complex carbohydrates their body can burn safely and efficiently. Improved self-esteem from taking charge of one's diet and lifestyle. Ease of maintenance, as most restaurants and even fast food stops now cater to the growing community of low-carbohydrate dieters in modern society. Convenient eating, as many low-carbohydrate diets provide prepackaged meals for participants on the go. Greater acceptance, as more and more people are able to distinguish fact from fiction when it comes to low-carbohydrate dieting. Increased levels of good or HDL cholesterol in the body. Decreased blood pressure. Increased muscle mass, especially for those eating a high-protein, low-carbohydrate diet combined with strength training. Reduced blood glucose levels, which is valuable for anyone with diabetes or early diabetes. Improved blood lipids, including triglyceride levels. Weight loss without the need for calorie restriction usually, which for most is the biggest benefit of a low-carbohydrate lifestyle. Decreased cravings after the early induction period, especially for sweet foods or sugary foods. Improved concentration and less mental fatigue. Of course, this is just a list of the most commonly reported benefits, combined from personal experiences and from studies that explore the benefits of low-carbohydrate diets among certain populations, including diabetics. Low-carbohydrate studies. Low-carbohydrate diets are so popular they are often in the news. In the table below, you will find some of the latest information released about low-carb diets. Low carbohydrates in the news. A recent study suggested patients following a low-carbohydrate diet for a minimum of 6 months lowered their risk for high cholesterol and improved their triglyceride levels. This study, conducted by the Duke University Medical Center, first presented in 2005, appears in a 2006 publication of the International Journal of Cardiology. Researchers found higher HDL or good cholesterol levels and lower triglyceride levels present in study participants. A study published in August of 2006 by Nutrition and Metabolism suggests a low-carbohydrate diet may aid patients with type 2 diabetes, lowering the risk of complications and helping patients preserve blood sugar levels. Patients in this study switched from a low-fat to a low-carbohydrate diet. A 2004 study published in Cancer Epidemiology, Mile Markers and Prevention suggests consumption of refined carbs, including sugar and white flour, may contribute to an increased risk for cancer. The controlled study suggested that individuals consuming more than 50% refined carbohydrates increased the risk of certain cancers, sometimes by more than 200%. Study researchers inferred routine consumption of refined carbs, or those heavily processed, may increase levels of insulin in the body, leading to multiple problems, including an increased risk for breast cancer or type 2 diabetes. These are just a small sampling of many reports and studies suggesting for some, a low-carbohydrate diet may provide multiple health benefits. As with any dietary program, you should evaluate and compare this diet with others before deciding your best course of action. Now we'll take a look at low-fat diets versus low-carbohydrate diets to help you judge whether a low-fat diet is more suitable for your weight loss goals. Low-carb versus low-fat diets. There are many types of diets that may prove worthwhile to patients. The second most popular diet among consumers is the low-fat diet. If you visit any grocery store, you are bound to see hundreds of items labeled low-fat. Have you ever wondered just how helpful low-fat diets are? The Duke study of low-carbohydrate diets printed in the International Journal of Cardiology compared low-carbohydrate diets to low-fat diets. While this study did not show a significant improvement in HDL levels among patients following a low-fat diet, low-fat participants did experience a lower total cholesterol level. This suggests that low-fat diets may have health benefits for some, including lowering their total cholesterol level. The types of benefits associated with low-fat diets, however, are not the same as those enjoyed by low-carbohydrate diets. This study confirms the idea that not every diet is right for everyone. Thus, no one should adopt a one-size-fits-all diet plan. If you are interested in following a low-carb diet, chances are you may improve your health significantly. However, you should consult with your healthcare provider before engaging in any diet or exercise program. Keep in mind there are also some downsides to low-fat diets. Many people, for example, believe the term no-fat means they can eat with wild abandon. Just because something is low in fat does not mean it is low in calories. In fact, some low-fat items have more calories than their full-fat counterparts. Remember, good fat, including unsaturated fats, are also important for our health and wellness. They promote longer-lasting satiety, meaning you feel fuller longer. Certain vitamins and minerals are fat-soluble, so you have to incorporate some fat into your diet. That said, some people may find they are able to reduce their caloric intake when participating in a low-fat diet. Again, the choice is yours. Of the two types of diet, the low-carbohydrate diet is the more popular and the one that often shows more dramatic results in the early phases. Chapter summary. It seems these days that low-carbohydrate diets are all the rage. This is because low-carbohydrate diets provide many health benefits. For example, low-carb diets can improve insulin sensitivity in at-risk populations, including those at risk for diabetes. A low-carbohydrate diet may also improve one's energy level and decrease their risk for developing certain diseases. Another popular diet is the low-fat diet. Many often compare low-fat diets to low-carbohydrate diets. When reviewing the two, keep in mind many prefer the low-carbohydrate diet because it allows more freedom of food choices and does not encourage overeating. Many low-fat items sold on the market are high in simple sugars and refined carbohydrates, meaning they may cause the energy highs and lows low-carbohydrate dieters are trying to avoid. Now that you are familiar with all low-carbohydrate diets have to offer, in the next chapter you'll learn what it takes to start a low-carb diet successfully. Here we will reveal the real secrets behind low-carbohydrate diets. Chapter 3. Low-Carbohydrate Basics for Beginners. The first idea you must adopt when starting a low-carbohydrate diet is there are many different types of low-carbohydrate diets. Most people assume that a low-carbohydrate diet is a specific diet, when there are many different versions of low-carbohydrate dieting. This benefits you in many ways, the most obvious of which is you can pick the low-carbohydrate diet and lifestyle that best meets your personality, needs, and interests. For you to embark on your journey, you must first understand the principles underlying the various types of diets. In this part, we'll talk about the basic principles underlying most low-carbohydrate diets. You can then apply these principles to your own life or the diet you choose. Most low-carbohydrate diets begin with what many refer to as an induction or a preliminary phase. This usually lasts for up to 14 days, weeks 1 and 2. Most low-carbohydrate diets begin with an initial 2-week period. Take the Atkins diet, for example. For the first 2 weeks of the diet program, you must eat less than 20 grams of carbohydrates a day. The Atkins diet refers to this period as the induction phase, where your body is warming up to the idea of adopting a low-carbohydrate lifestyle. The first phase of a low-carbohydrate diet restricts your carbohydrate consumption to approximately 1/4 of what you usually eat. That means your diet will consist of mostly lean proteins and foods with minimal carbohydrate counts. For some, this can be extraordinarily challenging, particularly if you are a self-named carbohydrate junkie. If you are a carb lover, this diet may prove life-saving. So hang in there and read more about how you can use a low-carbohydrate diet to your advantage. In the grand scheme of things, 2 weeks passes by in the blink of an eye. Most people can get through 2 weeks in a breeze. Why do you need to lower your carbohydrate intake to less than 20 grams during the first 2 weeks? For one, you may lose a pound or two. This will encourage you to continue your low-carbohydrate diet plan. You start preparing your body physically and emotionally for a new way of eating and a new way of thinking of foods. You also start weaning from refined carbohydrates. Many people find they do not feel well during the first few days of a low-carbohydrate diet. You may find you experience cravings for high-sugar items. This is just because your body has become used to eating high-carbohydrate items packed with refined or simple sugars. Just like any addict, you may experience withdrawal symptoms. The good news is these symptoms subside relatively quickly. You'll find you then experience increased energy and have a new outlook on life in general. Here's a list of some common symptoms you may experience as your body adjusts to its new lifestyle. Remember, most of these symptoms are passing, so you should not feel excessively alarmed by them. Common withdrawal symptoms include nausea, increased sugar cravings, don't give in, thirst, fatigue, weakness, headaches, and increased hunger initially. These symptoms will gradually disappear. In fact, you will find you have more energy and feel less hungry the longer you continue your low-carbohydrate lifestyle. There are some other important principles and steps you should take during the first 2 weeks of your low-carbohydrate diet. Let's talk more about them. Body fat measurements. During the first 2 weeks of your low-carbohydrate diet plan, you should take your body measurements, including measuring your BMI and body fat. This will help you track your weight and fat loss throughout your diet program, and is a much more reliable indicator of fat loss than weight alone. Most people's weight varies a few pounds a day, mostly resulting from fluid retention. You may find during the first couple of weeks you lose a few pounds resulting from excessive fluids being released from your body, because many refined carbs cause you to retain fluid. You can take your own measurements by measuring your waistline and your thighs. Many people find it helpful to have their body fat measured either using calipers or a bioimpedance analysis. There are many scales that you can use these days that send a small electrical impulse through your body. This helps assess your body fat levels and hydration levels throughout the day. Success tips first 2 weeks low-carb dieting. Here are a few tips that will help you get through the first 2 weeks of your low-carb diet. 1. Drink as much water as you can to help flush your body of toxins and help you feel fuller longer. 2. Stay away from alcohol, which will only make you crave carbohydrates. And besides, most alcoholic drinks have too many carbs. 3. Eat as many lean proteins and complex carbohydrates in the form of vegetables as you can. Big salads contain lots of fiber and fill you up quickly, but stay away from salad dressings which contain too much fat and sugar. Try lemon and olive oil instead. 4. Try including some hard cheeses, less carbs than soft cheeses, and nuts in your diet, which will help you feel full longer. 5. Avoid milk for a couple of weeks to reduce your total carbohydrate intake. Most people's bodies only store a 1 to 3 day supply of active carbohydrates. The principles behind a low-carbohydrate diet suggest that after this time your body starts burning fat to supply you with the energy you need. That is why some people lose a lot of weight during the first couple of weeks on the diet. This is especially true if your diet consisted mostly of refined carbohydrates. You may find you lose weight a lot more quickly during the first couple of weeks of your diet plan. Hunger pangs. Some people find they are hungrier than normal during the first couple of weeks of a low-carbohydrate diet. This is your body's way of telling you it wants more refined and simple carbohydrates, but don't give in. As long as you are eating enough calories to meet your daily requirements, your hunger pains will go away and stay away. Your body is just used to the typical sugar and energy highs and lows that go with a high-carbohydrate diet. You may find you feel shaky or a bit nauseous, but these feelings will also pass after a few days. Remember that a low-carbohydrate diet does not mean a no-calorie diet. The calories you consume will depend on your activity level and basal metabolic rate. Most people will need to consume between 1,200 to 2,500 calories a day to avoid feeling hungry and to supply their body the calories necessary to work properly. With most other diets, many recommend you cut your caloric intake by 500 calories each day. If you eat less than 1,200 calories a day, however, you may start to gain weight. Why? This is because your body goes into starvation mode and won't burn fat regardless of whether you are eating no carbs or low carbs. The result is you gain weight, you mess up your metabolism, and you have a harder time losing weight in the long term. Your goals should include eating enough calories to supply you with the energy you need, minimizing your carbohydrate intake, and exercising to lose weight. If you don't eat more calories than you burn, you won't gain weight. It is that simple. Week 3 and beyond. After the first 2 weeks, you can slowly add more complex carbohydrates into your diet based on your body's tolerance for them. That means if you start feeling drowsy or sluggish, you should decrease your carbohydrate intake until you find a level of intake that leaves you feeling healthy. It should also allow you to maintain a steady weight loss or maintain your weight. Most low-carbohydrate plans recommend you add roughly 5 grams of carbohydrates every few days or each week and assess how your body adjusts. This is a sensible level and will allow your body to adjust without much in the way of water retention or weight variations. Typically, you should expect to lose 1 to 2 pounds each week on a low-carbohydrate diet. When you reach your goal weight, you can eat a level of carbohydrates that allows you to maintain your weight. The amount of carbohydrates you will be able to consume without gaining weight typically depends on your metabolism, your activity level, and your genetics. Some people find they need more carbohydrates, especially those that are active, while others find they do better while consuming minimal carbohydrates. Women sometimes need slightly higher levels of carbohydrates than men due to complex hormonal processes, including those facilitating menstrual cycles. Average carbohydrate consumption for low-carb diets. The table below lists the average carbohydrate consumption people find they can eat to maintain their weight when they reach their ideal weight. Remember, each person is different. The numbers below represent averages. How many complex carbohydrates you can incorporate into your diet will depend on many factors, including your activity level. Active individuals, 80 to 90 grams of carbohydrates. Moderately active people, 60 to 80 grams. Sedentary individuals, 25 to 45 grams. Types of low-carb diets. As mentioned previous, there are many different types of low-carbohydrate diets. The key ideas underlying all of these diets are basically the same. By now, you have probably heard of quite a few similar diets that promote minimal consumption of refined or simple carbohydrates. Many include an introductory period where you dramatically decrease your carbohydrate intake for 2 weeks, then slowly raise it to a level that allows you to preserve a modest weight loss or maintain your weight. In the last part, we talked more in depth about each of the typical phases involved in most low-carbohydrate diets. Now we will take this information and go one step further by providing you even more information about specific programs you can follow when adopting a low-carbohydrate lifestyle. Each of these diets deserves some attention so you can decide the best low-carbohydrate plan for your weight loss and weight maintenance. Remember that most of these diets have many similar principles in common. It is important to understand this so you're not confused when looking for the diet that best suits you. The key to any low-carbohydrate diet is limiting your intake of simple and refined carbohydrates. This induces a fat-burning state in the body and helps improve your energy level. You are better able to function during the day and feel better while improving your body image. Here are some examples of the most popular low-carbohydrate diets available today. 1. Atkins. This was one of the first low-carbohydrate diets to hit the market. The Atkins diet became popular more than a decade ago. This diet promotes a low-carbohydrate and high-protein eating plan. For the most part, this diet bans refined carbohydrates during the program. Dr. Atkins refers to the phases of his diet plan as follows. 1. The induction period, where you must eat less than 20 grams of carbohydrates. 2. Weight loss phase, when you lose weight until you reach your goal weight. And then 3. The maintenance phase, where you maintain your ideal body weight by consuming just the right amount of complex carbohydrates. This diet promotes a long-term commitment to a high-protein diet. Some have labeled this diet as a high-fat diet, as in the early weeks Dr. Atkins allows consumption of fatty foods. For the most part, most people are better off consuming lean proteins, including chicken and fish, compared with higher fat proteins, including red meats containing saturated fats. There is much controversy surrounding the Atkins diet, in part because of its promotion of high fats. During the early stages of this diet, the goal is to induce a state of ketosis in the body, where the body starts burning fat instead of carbohydrates for energy. Among the foods participants must avoid are milk, yogurt, bread, and rice. During the continuing phases of this diet, participants can add up to 5 grams of carbohydrates each week, while they are still able to lose weight. Most people are able to consume between 30 to 60 grams of carbohydrates each day and still lose weight. Once you reach your ideal weight, you can maintain your weight by eating a maximum number of carbohydrates. This level should allow you to maintain your weight loss without gaining weight. For most people, this range varies up to 90 grams each day depending on their activity level. The Atkins diet recommends taking fiber and calcium supplements as these nutrients are somewhat lacking in the diet. Some people enjoy this low-carb program because there are no caloric limits. The diet does, however, promote exercise as essential to one's overall weight loss and maintenance. Ketogenic diets defined. Many refer to the Atkins diet as a ketogenic diet. A ketogenic diet is one that promotes consumption of high-fat foods and low-carbohydrate foods to induce a state of ketosis. In this state, the body will burn more fat. For some, this diet may help control seizures. Bodybuilders sometimes adopt a ketogenic diet to help them look muscular and lean before competition. A ketogenic diet produces ketones within the body. This means the body burns fat as the primary source of energy instead of carbohydrates. This diet is not often recommended in the long term for adults simply because it is very restrictive. A true ketogenic diet is restrictive, much more so than the Atkins diet alone. Typically, this diet is recommended for children suffering from complex health issues, including epilepsy that medications are not able to control. 2. Carbohydrate Addicts Diet. Much like the Atkins diet, the Carbohydrate Addicts Diet promotes consumption of a high-protein and low-carbohydrate diet. Created by Dr. Rachel and Dr. Richard Heller, this diet suggests that most people have metabolic problems resulting in an inability to process carbohydrates correctly. This can lead to weight gain and even obesity in some. This diet regimen and philosophy aligns with the idea that man is not genetically predisposed to eat refined or simple carbohydrates. Remember, in the beginning of this guide we mentioned early man relied on hunting and gathering of unprocessed foods to provide ample nutrients for survival. This diet encourages participants to lose 1% of their weight from week to week by undergoing an initial induction period. Unlike the Atkins diet, the Carbohydrate Addicts Diet suggests that participants avoid any food products containing more than 4 grams of carbohydrates per serving. Also different from the Atkins diet, the CA diet allows reward meals where once every day the participant is encouraged to reward themselves and eat what they want as long as they eat a balance of nutrients. The idea is participants will not feel deprived. This diet, like the Atkins diet, includes a 2-week induction period followed by 4 separate plans. Each plan is based on one's weight loss progress. Participants can select an eating plan based on the amount of weight they want to lose during a given week. The CA diet talks much of complementary meals, which are meals that contain 70 or more grams of protein a day, combined with 2 cups of cruciferous vegetables, read green vegetables like salad, spinach, or mustard greens. The diet consists of 2 complementary meals, 2 snacks, and 1 reward meal every day. Generally, all meals except the reward meal should not include any single item with greater than 4 grams of carbohydrates. 3. South Beach Diet. This is one of the more popular low-carbohydrate diets currently marketed to consumers. Just like the previous diets reviewed, the South Beach diet includes a 2-week introductory phase where participants should restrict their consumption of carbohydrates. Much like the Atkins diet, during the second phase of the diet, participants can include more carbs in their diet, including carbs that might have a higher glycemic index. During phase 3, participants work to maintain their weight by selecting a proper protein to carbohydrate ratio. The primary difference between this diet and others is that it labels some carbohydrates as good and bad. The South Beach diet encourages participants to limit their carbs, but also encourages participants to enjoy a wide selection of the right kinds of carbs, low glycemic carbohydrates. How do I find out the glycemic index of foods? Throughout this guide we have mentioned the glycemic index. Remember, the glycemic index refers to how quickly the body converts the carbohydrates we eat into sugar. Lower glycemic foods are likely to provide more lasting energy, while higher glycemic foods are more likely to result in rapid energy highs, followed by hastened lows or crashes. In the appendix of this book, the carbohydrates listed in the first table are generally those that are low glycemic carbohydrates. These are carbohydrates that are more likely to provide sustained energy levels and less likely to produce rapid changes in blood sugar levels, leading to energy crashes, lethargy, and fatigue. You can use this table as a general guideline when starting your low-carbohydrate lifestyle. The complex carbohydrates listed are those best suited for individuals during the initial phases of their low-carbohydrate diet. As you start adding more carbohydrates into your diet, you may be able to add some of the higher glycemic items. Just be sure to do so one item at a time to assess the impact certain foods have on your body. 4. Sugar Busters Diet. The Sugar Busters diet is not a true low-carb diet program. It is one of the few diets that does not have an introduction period that encourages the reduction of carbohydrates during a 2-week period. Rather, this diet encourages reducing highly refined foods and carbohydrates. This diet encourages consumption of complex carbohydrates, including most vegetables, whole grains, and fruit. To make this diet work, the Sugar Busters diet recommends consumption of mostly unprocessed foods, or foods containing minimal artificial sugar and sweeteners. The Sugar Buster diet may be a good introductory diet for somebody who's interested in low carbing, but not yet fully committed to the idea of reducing all carbohydrates in their diet. This diet does encourage elimination of foods that are refined and contain too many sugars. Since this is a key principle in most other low-carbohydrate diets, the Sugar Busters diet may be a break-in diet for those that plan to go low-carb later, once they get their sugar consumption under control. 5. Zone Diet. Promoted by Dr. Barry Sears, the Zone Diet claims to uphold insulin levels by encouraging participants to eat foods within a zone. This zone includes a balance of carbohydrates, proteins, and fats at each meal. This diet also promotes a balance of carbohydrates, proteins, and fats for all snacks. Unlike its predecessors, The Zone diet does not encourage consumption of high levels of protein. Rather, it encourages consumption of adequate lean proteins. The Zone diet encourages participants to limit their intake of saturated fats, unlike the Atkins diet, which allows saturated fats. Typically, to enter the Zone, which one may assume is the fat-burning zone, one must eat between 80 to 115 grams of lean proteins each day. Unlike the Atkins diet, it does not encourage ketogenesis. The Zone diet recommends ample volumes of vegetables, but limits the consumption of some grains. The Zone diet, unlike the other diets mentioned, also has a more restricted caloric intake, allowing people to eat between 1,200 and 1,600 calories every day on average. To help people maintain their weight or lose weight, the diet divides all food into blocks. Each block contains a certain amount of protein. For example, protein blocks may contain 7 grams of protein. Carbohydrate blocks may contain 9 grams of complex carbohydrates. Each meal must meet exact proportions of carbohydrates, fats, and proteins for the diet to work. Many people find this diet too complicated. One way to make it simple is consider it in terms of visual references. For example, the protein you eat should comprise roughly 1/3 of your meal, and vegetables should comprise the remaining portion of your meal. Fat should come in the way of healthy oils used to flavor foods like olive oil, or in the form of seeds and nuts. Like the Atkins diet, participants on the Zone diet are encouraged to exercise and take vitamin and mineral supplements. Many people still find this diet too restrictive, especially with regard to caloric needs if they are active. Still, many researchers believe this diet is among the healthier low-carbohydrate eating plans because it encourages balanced meals and snacks throughout the day. In theory, you could adjust the caloric needs to meet your daily needs based on your activity level. Once you take some time to master the block theory, it isn't as complicated as it may seem. Selecting the right diet. Now that you know what types of low-carbohydrate diets there are, how do you know what plan to follow? You should decide on a diet that is right for you based on your individual health goals. Remember, most of the diets listed above follow the same principles. You can apply these principles to your own self-created low-carbohydrate diet plan. If you are a fan of eating as much protein and fat as you want, the Atkins diet may be the right diet for you. If you are interested in a more balanced approach to low-carbohydrate dieting and are looking for something convenient, the South Beach diet may fulfill your needs. If you are looking for a way to gradually reduce the carbohydrates you eat until you fully commit to a low-carbohydrate diet, to test the waters, if you will, you may find a diet like the Sugar Busters diet the best selection for you. Remember to ease into your diet plan as you would any new program. Don't forget to consult with your healthcare provider before embarking on any diet, to make sure you diet in a manner that is safe and sensible for your body. Consider getting a full physical before you start your diet. Your doctor may be able to provide you with an estimated total body fat. You can then reevaluate your body fat and measurements from month to month as you continue your weight loss plan. If you are severely obese, you may find your doctor or healthcare provider actively supports a low-carbohydrate lifestyle. The same is true of people with certain health conditions, including diabetes. The most important principle to take away from all of this is that everyone is unique. So take some time to figure out who you are, how you are, and what program you feel is best for you. Then go for it. Until this point, we have focused mostly on the basic principles that form the foundation of a low-carbohydrate diet. Now it is time to talk about exercise. No diet program is complete without a brief discussion of exercise and its relationship to healthy living. Exercise is part of a low-carb diet. Remember, as with any diet, exercise is an important component. The more you exercise, the more likely you are to lose weight. Exercise will also help burn extra carbohydrates, allowing you to indulge a bit more in your diet. There are many types of exercise you can enjoy while dieting. If you have never exercised before, you should start by walking. Many people find they can gradually move from walking for 15 minutes a day to jogging for 20. You can also interval train or walk for 5 minutes followed by 2 minutes of running. Other good forms of cardiovascular exercise include biking, stationary or recumbent, swimming, aerobic activity, yoga or Pilates, and stair climbing. Weight or strength training is also valuable for low-carbohydrate dieters. By lifting weights, you improve your lean body mass. This in turn helps boost your metabolism. The higher your metabolism, the more likely you will be able to indulge in a few more carbohydrates than usual. You will also find you burn fat faster and lose weight quicker when you have a higher muscle-to-fat ratio. If you have never exercised before, you should start out slowly. Doing too much too quickly may result in increased frustration, not to mention a very sore body. If you think you are too busy to exercise, consider exercising in small spurts. There is evidence suggesting that exercising 10 minutes 3 times every day may be just as helpful as exercising for 30 minutes a day straight. Take some time to walk around your office building if you are on a break. Increase your pace every day. If you are able to take long lunch breaks, eventually work up to a vigorous workout during lunch or even before you hit the office. The more you exercise, the faster you will lose weight and the better you will feel about yourself as you continue your diet and wellness plan. If you still aren't convinced, here are just a few benefits of exercise. Improved cardiovascular ability, faster and more efficient weight loss, improved energy, decreased fatigue, improved self-esteem, greater flexibility and endurance, and may improve symptoms of depression. Exercise increases the endorphins floating around our body. What that means is we feel better. Exercise works just like a magic pill, making us feel better about ourselves and our lifestyle. Chapter summary. There are many different low-carbohydrate diets available for low-carbers interested in losing weight and maintaining a healthy weight. Some are more restrictive than others, but most follow the same pattern, including an introductory period, a weight loss period, and then a maintenance period. Don't forget to incorporate exercise as part of your low-carbohydrate lifestyle. Exercise helps make any diet better. You'll lose weight faster and improve the likelihood that you will maintain your weight loss for years to come. Now that we understand the basics of low-carbohydrate dieting and the most common types of low-carbohydrate diets, let's take a look at the do's and don'ts of a low-carbohydrate lifestyle. This fun chapter will help you avoid some of the more common errors associated with the low-carbohydrate lifestyle. Chapter 4, Low-Carbohydrate Diet Do's and Don'ts. Low-carbohydrate dieting is easy for those that are well-versed in the basics. If you have read this far, you now know the basics of low-carbohydrate dieting and have probably picked a diet program you think will work best for you. What is the next step? Learning even more about low-carbohydrate diets. When it comes to your body, knowledge is power. The more you learn about low-carbohydrate dieting, the more likely you are to realize your weight loss and fitness goals. On that note, now that you know a bit about low-carbohydrate diets, let's learn more about how to make low-carbing work for you so you can make it a part of your lifestyle. What are the real secrets to a low-carbohydrate diet? You'll find out if you understand some important do's and don'ts when it comes to low-carb dieting. 1. Do take some time to review multiple low-carbohydrate plans and decide which one you are most comfortable with. You want to select a low-carbohydrate diet that will fit in with your lifestyle and your personal goals. If having access to prepackaged meals is your goal or primary concern, for example, the South Beach diet may work best for you. If your goal includes incorporating a well-balanced selection of foods in your diet, you may prefer the Zone diet. 2. Don't expect to lose more than 1 to 2 pounds each week, even if you do during the initial period of your diet. While you may lose more, most likely you are losing fluid or retained fluid that you stored in your body from consuming too many refined carbohydrates for extended periods. Study after study confirms the notion that people who lose 1 to 2 pounds every week are better able to maintain their weight loss in the long term than those that crash diet. 3. Do consider a low-carbohydrate plan that encourages consuming lean proteins and healthy fats. Remember, our body needs some fat to carry out basic metabolic functions. Lean proteins typically include foods like fish, chicken, and pork. Red meat is often loaded with saturated fat, which may contribute to coronary artery disease and ill health. 4. Do consult with your healthcare provider before embarking on any weight loss or diet to ensure you are healthy and fit and that the diet you select is safe for you. Your doctor can also help you assess your total lean body mass and recommend a weight loss goal that is safe and reasonable. 5. Don't expect instant results. Long-term weight loss comes from hard work, commitment, and patience. One of the benefits of low-carbohydrate dieting is many people experience an early, quick, and hefty weight loss. However, after the introductory period, most people will lose from 1 to 2 pounds each week. There are many diet programs and supplements available that claim you can lose more. These typically result in failure, however, or temporary weight loss. Many of them promote water weight loss only. Your goals should include losing fat and building muscle. You can only achieve these goals by a slow and steady weight loss program. 6. Do take your measurements, including your body weight, body fat, and BMI or body mass index measurements before starting your diet. This will help you accurately assess your progress throughout your diet. Not sure how to calculate your BMI? Just go to the Center for Disease Control website, where you'll find free tools for calculating your BMI, whether an adult or a child. It's at http://www.cdc.gov/nccdphp/dnpa/BMI/index.htm. 7. Don't starve. Generally, most people need at least 1,200 calories a day to preserve basic metabolic functions. The Zone diet is probably the most restrictive, recommending a caloric intake between 1,200 and 1,600 calories each day. Keep in mind, the more active you are, the more energy, meaning calories, you'll need during the day. 8. Do set goals for yourself. Start out small, then create larger goals as you start realizing small successes along the way. You may find you reach your goals much faster than expected. If this is the case, write new goals for yourself. Keep a journal where you can keep track of your successes. This will help motivate you during down times. 9. Do start thinking of food in terms of energy and life support. When you consider food in terms of what it does for you, you will find it is much easier to maintain your fitness and weight loss goals. Too many people rely on food as a crutch. They use food to cover up emotional baggage or to hide their feelings. You should focus on using food as your primary energy source, as a tool that will help you achieve your goals and feel your best, not as a crutch. 10. Do exercise. Your goal should include exercising every day, even if that means just getting outside to walk for 15 minutes each day. Exercise not only helps boost your metabolism, but also helps boost endorphins and other feel-good chemicals in the brain that help us feel better about ourselves and supply us with more energy. 11. Don't come down on yourself too hard if you mess up on your diet on any given day. We all make mistakes. It takes time to learn a new way of eating and to adopt a new lifestyle. If you make a mistake, get back up and try again. Don't just give up and have a free-for-all session. You'll feel even more guilty. 12. Do enlist the help of a friend or support buddy. You may find it helps to have someone encourage you along the way. If you can find someone else that is low-carbing, all the better. The two of you can come up with meal plans and work out together. 13. Don't give up. Remember, when you start any diet and weight loss program, you are committing to your health and wellness. This is a lifetime commitment. You may have good days and bad days, but with time you will find the good days far outweigh the bad ones. Remember, your self-esteem will skyrocket once you reach your weight and fat loss goals. You will pat yourself on the back for a job well done. 14. Do reward yourself when you reach your weight loss goals or reach milestones. This will help you remain motivated. Try to limit your rewards to non-food items. Remember, your goals should include changing your entire perspective about food. Consider food your life source, a source of energy and support, not something you do because you can or because there is food to eat. A word on goal setting. Part of our do and don't list included a do set goals for yourself. How do you set goals? Goal setting helps build the foundation for any successful fitness and weight loss program, whether you adopt a low-carbohydrate diet or any other diet. You should consider your short, middle, and long-term goals when setting out on any weight loss plan. In fact, goal setting may help you achieve anything you want in life, whether your goals include losing weight, getting a promotion, or starting a new career. How do you set goals for weight loss for your new low-carbohydrate diet? All good goals have common features. Good goals are those that are specific, measurable, attainable, reasonable, and tangible. You've probably already heard of this, the SMART goal-setting analogy. Let's take a minute and see how you can apply it to your goal setting for your low-carb diet plan. Specific. Specific goals are goals that are very targeted. Let's say, for example, your overall goals include losing weight. This goal is a very general goal. It doesn't provide you with any concrete information about how you plan to lose weight. What can you do about this? The answer is simple. Here are some examples of specific goals. I plan to lose 1 to 2 pounds a week for the next 12 weeks. I plan to exercise 15 minutes a day 4 times a week. I plan to spend 10 minutes a day relaxing. What do all of these goals have in common? They provide specific or exact information about what the individual plans to do. They include a time frame for completion and the exact results the participant expects to realize on arriving at their goal. Make sure your goals are specific and meaningful. Measurable. Good goals are also measurable. That means you have to have some way of measuring or evaluating your progress toward meeting your goals. How do you do that? Let's say, for example, your goal includes losing 1 to 2 pounds a week. This goal is easily measured by tracking your progress at the end of each week. Keep a journal and step on a scale at the same time every morning once each week. This should help you discover if you are meeting your goals. It is important when weighing in, you weigh in at the same time every day, preferably without clothes if you can. Remember, anything, including fluid retention or your monthly cycles, can influence your daily weight. The key is tracking your progress with time. You should be able to review your progress over a month or more to see if on average you are actually losing the weight you want to. Attainable. Are you setting realistic goals for yourself? Realistic goals are attainable. That means you can reach them. If you want to lose 30 pounds in 30 days, chances are your goals are not only unreasonable, but also unattainable. Remember, sensible weight loss for most people is weight loss at about 1 to 2 pounds a week. That means in 30 days you will lose around 4 to 8 pounds on average. Make sure you are setting goals that are attainable. If you don't, you will only realize frustration and fail when you do embark on your diet. Reasonable. Similar to being attainable, your goals must be reasonable and realistic. Are you really going to get rid of your short legs by dieting? Is losing weight going to help you get that promotion or change your life forever? When it comes to our lives, there is no one magic bullet. While losing weight and maintaining a healthy weight may improve your self-esteem, it is up to you to make other changes to help gain a more positive outlook on life in general. Don't expect a low-carb diet to be the cure-all for all that ails you in life. Rather, look at it as a starting point for changing your life in a positive way. Tangible. Tangible goals are goals we actually see ourselves achieving. Can you literally see, envision, and realize your goals? Your goals have to be something you can feel yourself achieving. Do you see a skinny person within? Are you able to visualize your success each step of your journey? It is important you set goals you believe you have the power to realize and that you can feel will really happen. If you don't believe in yourself after all, then why should anyone else? To make your goals tangible, you must first start believing in your own power to achieve your goals. When you do this, your life becomes transforming, and you are capable of meeting any goals, no matter how difficult or lofty. Chapter Summary. In this section, we talked a lot about the do's and don'ts of low-carb dieting. Remember that each person is unique, so make sure you individualize your program in a way that best suits your needs. The foundation to any program, whether a weight loss program or other program, is your ability to set goals and achieve them. Make sure you set goals following our strategic outline. Take some time to sit down and write out at least 2 short, medium, and long-term goals for yourself. This is the first step to a successful weight and fat loss journey. Once you set your goals, all you have to do is develop an action plan for success. We'll talk more about that in the next section. Chapter 5, Action Plan for Success. The real secret to making a low-carb diet work for you is having a strong action plan. Your action plan is your step-by-step plan for weight loss and fitness that takes you from the goal-setting stage through to the maintenance phases of your weight loss program. Remember, most low-carb diets have the following in common. Initial 2-week induction or introductory phase, where you minimize the carbohydrates you eat. Weight loss phase or ongoing phase, where you gradually add complex carbohydrates back into your diet, but only as much as will allow you to lose 1 to 2 pounds each week. Maintenance phase, where you establish a level of safe carbohydrate consumption, where you maintain your new fit and fabulous weight. Keeping these steps in mind, you can come up with your action plan for success. This should be a step-by-step method you can use to establish your carbohydrate dietary guidelines. 7 steps for low-carb success. Here is a sample action plan you can use until you come up with your own action plan for success. Step 1. Decide what carbohydrate plan works for you based on your lifestyle, personal preferences, and weight loss goals, plans such as Atkins, South Beach, etc. Step 2. Write down 2 short-term goals for your low-carb diet plan, 2 medium-term and 2 long-term goals. Remember, your goals will change with time as you meet short-term goals and create new ones. Step 3. Get and keep a food journal so you can record your progress and your feelings throughout your weight loss journey. Step 4. Take your body measurements, including your BMI and body fat measurements. Record them and keep track of them on a weekly to monthly basis. You can include these measurements in your journal. Step 5. Set dates on your calendar for exercise. Include the times you plan to exercise and what types of exercise you plan to engage in. You are more likely to stick with an exercise program when you write down your exercise goals and schedule exercise segments into your schedule. Step 6. Toss anything in your cupboard that doesn't align with your new dietary guidelines. This may include processed foods, cookies, and other high-sugar items. Step 7. Make a list before you go to the grocery store and buy foods that align with your dietary guidelines. When you have foods that align with your diet readily available, you are less likely to stray from your diet and more likely to realize success. These 7 action steps should get you started on your weight loss, low-carb journey. Remember, you can modify these steps to accommodate your personal or lifestyle preferences, goals, and desires. Don't forget to enlist the help of a buddy or friend to help you stay on track while you enjoy your new diet. Chapter Summary. Creating an action plan is vital to your success when planning a low-carb diet. If you want to succeed in anything, you have to set goals and create a plan of action. Consider your action plan or your plan of attack, the one that will help you not only realize your goals, but also maintain your lifestyle once you achieve them. You can apply these same basic principles to many aspects in your life, whether you have academic, career-oriented, or even family goals. By having an action plan in place, you are one step closer to realizing success on your weight loss journey. Appendix 1. Acceptable carbohydrates on most carbohydrate diets. Fruits: apples, berries, cherries, grapefruit, oranges, plums, peaches. Grains: steel-cut oats, barley, wheat bran, butter beans, garbanzo beans, kidney beans, lentils. Vegetables: lettuce, kale, broccoli, spinach, cauliflower, mustard greens. Most diets encourage consumption of seeds and nuts. Other foods that are acceptable but encouraged in moderation include those with a higher glycemic index, meaning your body converts them to sugar at a moderate rate. Examples of moderate glycemic foods are listed below. Foods to eat moderately: fruits: apricots, grapes, mangoes, melon, pineapple. Grains: muesli, black beans, buckwheat, multigrain bread, rye bread. Vegetables: peas, squash, pumpkin, carrots. Final words and tips: how to make low-carb work for you. To enjoy the full benefits of a low-carb diet, you have to eliminate many processed foods from your diet and eat as many whole foods as possible. Processed foods include many fast foods and pre-packaged foods. Historically processed foods are those manufactured and sold in stores and in restaurants or fast food establishments. Think of anything you see in the store that is packaged, including cereals, soups, crackers, breads, and similar foods. These foods typically are created using heavily refined white flour and other undesirable carbohydrates for the low-carbohydrate dieter. These foods can sabotage your best efforts at a low-carb diet. Many also provide empty calories because they are jam-packed with preservatives and other ingredients that do not provide any real nutritional value. Many include high-carbohydrate ingredients, including sugar, high-fructose corn syrup, hydrogenated vegetable oil, saturated fat, monosodium glutamate, artificial color, and sodium nitrite. Many of these chemicals are harmful to the body no matter what type of diet you enjoy. Your goal when embarking on a low-carb diet should include eating as many unprocessed foods as possible. These include foods in their natural state, like cruciferous vegetables, lean proteins, nuts, seeds, and herbs. These foods are beneficial for low-carb dieters because they contain healthy fats, nutrients, vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, and fiber. When embarking on your low-carbohydrate lifestyle, remember to incorporate as few processed foods as possible. The more unprocessed or whole foods you eat, the better you will feel, and the better your body will function.